Hello and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric, joined once again with Karen
Hi.
and our mascot Monty, who's about to get comfortable in my lap. I'm bringing you some more Ryan's Hope, episodes 101 to 105. Tommy, roll the credits and we'll chat. All right, so I got to tell you, I got to meet Kate Mulgrew since the last Ryan's Hope podcast that we did. So she was very sweet. I recommend meeting her. You can just walk up to her table. You don't have to pay. You can also buy an autograph like I did, which you'll see soon, or get a photo op, which I did as well, because I'm like, she's Mary frickin' Ryan. And Karen's like, she's Captain what?
Janeway. Yeah,
Captain
Captain Janeway. One of the greatest captains from Star Trek ever.
Deep Space Nine?
No, Voyager.
Voyager. There's so many, I honestly can't keep track.
Cisco is Deep Space Nine.
I did add Star Trek Voyager on my Tubi. It's on Tubi right now. And it might be on Prime too.
I think you'll like it. It's a good show.
Yeah, it's one of those things I get around to eventually, but I watch too many soaps. So yeah, she was very sweet. I talked to her about Ryan's Hope, but she gave me a big spoiler, but I will not say it until the spoiler comes along, and then I will say it. Lemon Lady might know what the spoiler is.
Lemon Lady knows all.
And she could she might. But I did talk to her about Ryan's Hope. I can't say what she said. I talked to her about Mr. Mercedes, which if you've never seen it, it's a Stephen King series and it's really good. It's on Peacock right now. Check that out because she is wild. She's in the second season and she is a wild character. She's like you've never seen her before. It's insane. It's insanity. Diana actually really liked it. My friend Diana liked that.
I love that you say that like the entire audience knows who our friend Diana is. You should. She's great.
She's a nurse in New Jersey. She might have had a patient in there at some point.
She's one of them Ryans.
And what else did we talked about something else too. She talked about Mrs. Columbo. She was on she was Columbo's wife in Mrs. Columbo. Remember he talked about his wife, but we never saw her. Then there was a series, Mrs. Columbo. She was her.
I don't remember much about Columbo, to be honest.
Yeah, that's how it was. It was really weird. They never had like a crossover, but he always talked about his wife on Columbo. And that's who it is, but they never connected. So he was never on Mrs. Columbo. She was never on regular Columbo. But
these people just kept their work at work, and
it was only like a season or two as well. I guess it didn't do that good. But yeah, so anyway, she was awesome, very cool. She wrote a book apparently too, or a couple books. I was going to look it up, but I forgot. But there was some lady ahead of me that got her book signed and said how it was really meaningful to her. So I'm curious to know what it's about. So I'll have to look that up. Anywho, getting on with the show. These episodes are 101 to 105, aired November 24th to the 28th, 1975, Thanksgiving week. As we saw, episode 101, Roger got a beat down, which I'm assuming was in 100 that we missed because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, we missed 100, but we do know it was that guy that came to the house.
Herbie.
Yeah. I felt so bad seeing him climb out of basically garbage, and he was all beat up. I love Roger.
Faith and Jill talk about Pat, and Roger gets home all beat up. They're like, oh my God, what happened? Frank and Delia are on. They talk about him leaving politics because she would like him to, but he's like, no, it ain't happening.
He's a little crazy in that scene.
Roger, surprisingly to me, told the truth to Jill, told her everything. Didn't say who it was that kicked his ass, but he talked about his gambling. How he's being blackmailed because of her and Frank and the $6,500, and she's like, that's why everything. And Jill flips out. She's so upset because she's like, I thought we were bonding. Like I thought we were like being brother and sister, and I cared about you. And like She's totally
But
hurt.
that's why he's telling her the truth right now, because he also thinks they're bonding. So he's confiding in her. It's just everything was already in motion by the time he started trying to bond with her. So they kind of got screwed on that.
It was a lot for her though. That's a lot. Like I would have.
Oh no, she's completely justified freaking out.
I like actually what she said too. She's like, "You deserve this,"
Right?
but he did.
But at the same time, he's like, I'm telling you because I do love you and you love me. And like we were bonding. And she's like, everything's a lie.
I was like getting ready to tear up because I was like, I felt bad for him. I was like, he's like, Mom died and Dad doesn't give a shit about me and Faith hates me. You're the only one.
Yeah, you're the only one that cares.
I know. I felt really bad. So he needs $4,500. And that's hopefully he'll forgive whatever that he owes, the $2,500 I think that he owed or whatever. Jill says yes, she'll get the money.
Because she's trying to protect Frank.
Yeah, and her brother. She doesn't want him to get killed.
No, because they keep threatening his hands, and that's Roger's entire world is being a doctor.
Mrs. Huber comes over. There's a Mrs. Huber in Desperate Housewives. I'm like, I wonder if they got the name of that because it's always like an annoying type of neighbor. It seems as far as this one. I mean, she has rights, I guess, to be annoyed, but she comes to Frank with her apartment building issues, electric turned off, all this crap.
Typical slumlord stuff.
Yeah. Nick and Herbie, and I think are they the apartments across the street at the hospital that Nick wants?
They want, Nick owns it and he wants the hospital to buy it to expand the hospital. So he's trying to chase the tenants out so he can make a huge profit.
Money, yeah. I think it's like 250,000 he said, which I guess back then was a lot of money.
Well, it's 5 tenement housing. Like it's not good buildings.
Right.
They're just like they've got like, what did they say? It was 5 buildings with at least 10 tenants each. So that's a lot of people being kicked out on the street.
Yeah. Nick and Herbie discuss Frank being in his pocket. So he pretty much is like, yeah, I got him where I want him. Doesn't have him yet, but we'll see. Next episode, poor Nell. Feel so bad for her.
I love her.
She continues having right side weakness. She's trying to lift her mirror. She can't even do that. She's like, well, why don't you use your left hand? But she's like, but my right hand's my dominant. Like,
She's also wearing a cute little wig.
I know.
And the nurse is like, your wig is beautiful.
Already? I was surprised at that. I'm like, why didn't she hang around for Thanksgiving? Maybe she has a family of her own and stuff, I guess. But Bucky's there too, her son. So
yeah, but they do talk to them about Thanksgiving. So I guess they have a big family Thanksgiving and she didn't want to miss it, which is ridiculous because your sister's in the hospital. But I think Nell might have chased her out because Nell keeps saying there was no reason for her to come. Why is she here?
There was no reason for her to stay, but it was nice to have her for that episode.
It was cute. It was cute. I miss her already.
You know, she was fun. Hopefully she'll return if Nell survives. Or for the funeral. Either way.
I don't think Nell's going to make it. The way everyone's talking and the way she's talking about herself, I don't think she's going to make it.
Maybe she'll make it a little longer. I don't know. We'll see.
I hope so. There's so many things she wants to do that are awesome.
Yeah. So Frank tells Bob about the apartment issues. Jill comes by. Roger goes to Nick to pay him off. He, of course, still wants the info on Frank so he can blackmail him.
He says the $4,500 is nice. It's a good payment, and that'll cover the interest, but not enough.
Boo.
Because that's all he wants is the information. He probably could have got that debt forgiven if he had given up the ghost earlier.
Yeah.
He should have just gave it up. He was going to get beat up either way. May as well save yourself from being beaten up.
I know. He tried. He was trying.
I know, and he did it for Jill, and I really appreciate that. But like,
right,
he held out for a while.
He did for sure. Bucky and Nell are talking, and Kenneth comes creeping in.
Kenneth is so scary.
That was that. I think, yeah, that was scary.
Kenneth has bodies in his basement. Prove me wrong.
He brings up Faith. of course. Jill tells Frank about Roger. He tells her that it's Nick, so now Jill knows the whole story. Um, Roger, what? Roger cracks with Nick about Jill and Frank.
Right.
He tells them because he doesn't want to get beat up again. I mean, he's pretty much. I don't know how he can work. I think he said next time his hands, like he was going to like.
Yeah, they were
break.
going to break his hands. And if they broke his hands and they don't get his hands fixed long enough, you become Doctor Strange. That's how that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nell and Seneca are on. She wants out of the hospital. Doesn't want to waste any more time being there. But we know she has to be there because she's paralyzed on like the right side.
She talks a lot about her dye project. When Kenneth came to see her, Kenneth basically told her that he set the whole lab up for her. He preserved her dye for her. He read all her papers, so he's ready to go. So she's like excited to work with Kenneth. She wants to go back to doing. She's like, I want to finish the dye project and move on to other awesome ideas I have, and then I want to go to this cool doctors convention. And Seneca's like, sounds like a great idea. Like they all know she's dying. And she's like, do you want to go with me? And he's like, yeah, if you're going, I'm going. And it's all very like, you have terminal cancer and you're dying sounding talk.
Yeah.
It's sad. I don't like it. I love her.
I know, but she's doing great in the storyline, of course.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
Next episode, Faith and Pat are dancing at Ryan's, and who's watching them from the side?
Your Stalker Kenneth. My new boyfriend, Kenneth!
Maeve talks to Kenneth, and she even gets creeped out. It seems like
because Kenneth tells her this bizarre story about his mother and how she's basically in a sanitarium and how sad he is that she never got to wear fancy outfits because she was poor and his dad was poor and drank all their money or something like something.
Yeah, he was an alcoholic. And what does he do? He takes Faith's keys out of her purse.
He's getting worse, kids.
I'm always confused. So the keys that he took was Faith's room at the hospital? Like her...
Remember, they have what's known as internship quarters in this hospital. So he took her, basically her work keys.
Okay, so I was making sure, yeah. So I was making sure it wasn't like her home keys. It was like her work keys.
I don't know. It may have been all of her keys. Like, how many key rings do you have?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe, unless she has like work keys and then home keys. And I don't even know if they share that internship quarters. Like, there's no other girls in her year right now. It's just the two boys and her. So are Bucky and Pat sharing quarters, or does everyone have their own?
I know. I don't know. I'm confused by it.
I mean, after watching ER, they like literally are sleeping in like cubby holes that they pull a sheet over, and these people have entire rooms.
Yeah, we have rooms at our hospital too. It's not like ER for sure. I mean, it can be where doctors are up for long periods of time, like especially like the oh, here he is, special appearance.
Monty, look directly into the camera and smile. Nope, he's gone. He's leaving like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Mary and Maeve have a good discussion. They talk about Jack and Da. She said Maeve says to invite Jack to Thanksgiving. It's the first year without Siobhan not there, so I didn't remember that she was only gone a year. I thought she was gone longer than that. But it's Kathleen is the one I think that left.
Kathleen and Siobhan, yeah. Kathleen left a while ago. Siobhan's gone for a year.
And still doesn't return for Thanksgiving. Neither of them.
Because they haven't been cast yet.
Pat and Faith, they can't afford them yet. It's new.
New, yeah.
Pat and Faith are happy. They're being cute. Kate. Ken goes in Faith's closet, takes her hairbrush and like pulls the hair and gets creepy. Plays with her scarf. I'm like, ugh.
I feel like he's building some kind of creepy shrine at his house. Yeah, I would not be surprised if there's 10 bodies in the basement and like some of them he's dressed up in his mom's clothes.
Totally giving me Psycho vibes for sure. Of course, Are we all? Is this what you like, Lemon Lady? Are you afraid of Kenneth like we are?
Someone tell me that I don't need to be terrified of Kenneth, because right now I'm terrified of Kenneth. I'm gonna have nightmares after that one episode when he was pulling the hair off the brush, the one we're talking about. I was like, I don't know if I can take this. This is very horror story for a soap opera.
I gotta look this actor up too.
He's
I'll do that.
brilliant. He scares me. I love
He's
him.
oddly terrified. Feel like we were unnerved in the first episode he was in. We were like, something's wrong with this guy.
But the thing is, he looks like such a mild mannered, nice guy, and then he opens his mouth and says the most unhinged stuff.
Seriously. So yeah, they're coming back to the quarters or whatever, but they can't get in because she doesn't have the key. So she has to go get them from wherever. Like I guess they have this.
There's a copy of the key at the nursing station.
Yeah, Super has the key or whatever. Mary goes to Jack's for dinner. He made salmon. She's impressed. They're being cutesy, new romance type thing. It's cute. Jack thinks that he would make the Ryan holiday disastrous if he goes to Thanksgiving.
I think he made the right decision.
I think so too. I would have liked to have seen it for the drama of it all, but whatever.
Sure. But I think it's too early in their relationship, and it's also a holiday. And if he showed up, he's going to have issues with Bob, who wants to marry Ryan but never says anything, and then with Da, and even with her brother Frank. Like, he'll be stiffly polite, but it'll be awkward and uncomfortable.
And Johnny had kicked them out about 2 weeks before, so I mean,
I wouldn't want to break bread with Johnny. Like, not after that. It was rude.
Right. So yes, he's not in the Thanksgiving episode, which is the next one. Ken runs out when when they come back with the keys or whatever. He runs out with the key. Leaves the keys here. But he ends up with another key, so I don't know. There's lots of keys around. So we know he can get in there again. Yikes. Pat finds the keys when he gets in. She's like, I had them. I remember having them. That is so bizarre. I know. I hate when that happens. Like when you think that, and now it really happened, and she feels totally creeped out. She's like, something happened here. Like I could sense something.
You know how you feel when someone's just been here? Someone's just been here, and Pat's like, sure, you're just messy. And she's like, I'm not messy. And he's like, look, you have stuff on the floor. And she's like, come on. He's I'm kidding. I'm messy too.
By the way she's acting too. He's like, I believe you.
He did, but he was trying to lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I do worry about them though, because he does keep saying things like, you're the girl I'm with right now.
Yeah.
So, and she's very much attached, and she got really excited when he referred to her as his girl, and then he's like, you're my girl who's, my pal, haha, the person I'm sleeping with right now. Like, he's very trying to keep it casual.
I don't know if it's going to end well.
I don't think it is, but hey, Maeve warned him.
So I liked episode 104 as the Thanksgiving episode. So it actually did air on Thanksgiving apparently that year.
Oh, that's cool. They used to do that.
It was, and I like that all the families were together. They had mostly everybody in except for Jack. He must have been off.
Jack has no family, so he's not allowed to enjoy Thanksgiving. Go cry in a corner. No cake. No pizza.
What are those little turkeys called? The young turkeys? You can make one of them.
A Cornish game hen?
Yeah, that.
It's not a turkey, but sure.
Well, it's chicken.
He went to Wawa and he got a gobbler bowl. He was fine.
Was Wawa around back then? It could have been.
No. No. 7-Eleven. He went to 7-Eleven and they had a turkey hot dog rolling on that hot dog roller and he ate that.
I know. I feel like our 7-Elevens are like going under over here. But when I was just in California recently, there was a 7-Eleven on every corner. I'm like, man, they're thriving here.
Yeah, but our 7-Elevens are filthy. Like, they're filthy, disgusting places where, like, even, like, big bugs are like, nah, thanks, man. I'll go to the cleaner Wawa across the street.
So Charlie's around for the Ryans dinner, I guess, because he helped them with the campaign. He gives a tribute to the Ryans. Johnny toasts Mrs. Huber comes to be a Debbie Downer at the Thanksgiving dinner.
I hate to be a downer, but we don't have heat or water or electricity. It really sucks at our house. And they're just like, can we have pie first? Damn.
Right, like nothing can happen on Thanksgiving. We all know shit's shut down, especially in 1975. A lot of stuff is open now, but back then, nothing
Well,
was
like,
open.
what time did she show up? Because she's like, oh, I figured you'd be done dinner by now. You know, she's an older lady. Is it 4 p.m.? Did she eat at 3 and now she thinks everyone's done dinner?
Yeah, right. Well, they might not have been able to cook. Well, I guess if their gas was on, I don't know what.
They
She has a
didn't
lot
have dinner. They were just eating sandwiches over at the 7-Eleven.
hot dog.
Delicious sandwiches.
Pat calls Faith while she's having her dinner. I think they're ready for dessert, and she tries to get him to go over. She's like, "No, I'm going to stay with my family." But thanks for the offer.
Well, they're also going to go visiting. So they ate dinner, they were going to have dessert, and then they were going to go around the neighborhood and visit different friends.
Roger tells Jill that he told Nick, so Jill has a heads up at least.
He's like, I'm sorry, but I gave him the money, and he said he wanted the information, and I said no. I tried. And then he said, I'm going to break all your fingers, doctor. And I said, I can't lose my hands. So I gave up Frank. And she's like, you suck. And then she goes to Frank, and he's like, I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did. At least Frank knows how scary Zabo is.
Yeah. Nell, Seneca, and Bucky are together. She tells the sad squirrel story.
What a horrific story about an old dog that I don't need to hear with my dog being 15 years old. Okay? I don't need to hear this. I thought that dog was going to die in that story. I was actually surprised it survived.
And then she ends. She's like, "Will I be alive next year?" I'm like, "Oh man."
Nope, not according to the way this writing is going. I'm dying. I can't.
It's gonna be like a long, slow, painful death, and it's like Dominique all over again.
No.
Nick calls Frank to meet up, and that's how that one ends.
Mm-hmm.
So Thanksgiving over, but I like that they had like most of the cast on. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's always good to see everybody in one episode. That's always fun.
Never happens anymore. I used to a lot for like Christmas and Thanksgiving, but not anymore. They like forget sometimes that they even have Thanksgiving. They're like, "Oh,
We miss holidays sometimes, and then Derek and I complain about it bitterly for 3 months.
yeah," because it's like such a ritual. Like it's like
Tradition.
yeah, it's tradition, and they usually do, and it's nice to.
You know, sometimes you have a crappy holiday with your family, and then you get to enjoy a TV holiday where everything happens the way you wish it would happen in your house.
I always think it's funny too because they'll go like 2 weeks in like the same day, and then all of a sudden they have Christmas decorations up or think whatever decorations.
Yeah, and
up.
in your head you're like, isn't it still June? Like-
it's funny. I always like how they do that. It somehow works. Last episode, 105, Jill goes to see Frank. Tells him that Nick knows, so at least they know ahead of time what's coming.
Time to plan something.
Yeah.
Not much time.
Bucky and Kenneth have an awkward conversation.
He's so weird. Was he trying to let Bucky know that he knows that Bucky's family owns that shoe company?
I don't know.
Because he was talking about how quiet he was and his magic shoe soles, and it just felt like he was weirdly trying to let Bucky know that he knew who he was.
The scariest part for me is him telling him that Nell reminds him of his mother, and that his mother probably looked like Faith when she was younger. I was like,
yeah, that's a full body shiver from me because I keep thinking he's got these dead bodies in his basement, and now I think they're all wearing blonde wigs.
I know. So you had messaged me like Kenneth disturbs me or creeps me out.
Something like that.
And I was like, oh, okay, he probably just because of the break-in. This creeped me the fuck out. Like, really. So I was just like, saying that is just fucked up. I feel like Bucky didn't even know what to say after that.
I think I just sent you a message and I'm like, I'm done Ryan's Hope. Kenneth is gonna give me nightmares or something.
Like, bird.
I'm scared, guys. I'm scared.
Delia gets home while Jill is there. Of course, insults the hell out of Jill. Husband chaser and all this stuff.
Well, she is.
But is she? Because I mean, Frank already said, like, I want to be with you. Like, I mean, it's kind of mutual.
It is, but at the same time, Jill should have some self-respect and stop going anywhere near Frank until he actually divorces his wife.
Well, she is there for a legitimate reason, too. Just
She
talk
is
about
this time.
stuff, yeah.
And he's like, we're alone so we can make out. And she's like, wait, I got stuff to tell you. And he's like, yeah, but we're alone. I got rid of everyone so we could be alone. And she's like, Nick Szabo's coming for you.
Yeah, and Nick comes over.
Yeah.
Faith and Pat are making out, and there's an envelope slipped under the door. It's this creepy ass poem where they're being all cute. It ain't cute anymore.
No.
Do you need to talk about the poem?
I don't remember the whole poem.
It's creepy.
Poem down. It was creepy. I'll get it for you. But
A hair and entangling your heart or something crazy.
It was just really weird. And I was like, oh no. But I didn't write it down. Normally I write the poems down. I was waiting to do another podcast. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So Nick wants people in the buildings by the hospital out so he can buy them, or so he can sell them to the hospital or whatever.
He wants to sell the property to the hospital so the hospital can expand. Ed was talking about this like 2 months ago. This hasn't come up again until now.
Right. And he mentions it to Frank, and it's $250K. Of course, he's trying to be easing about it. He wants him to like want to do it. He doesn't want to blackmail him, but he will if he has to. He's like, of course, I'll give you 10% of this, and he'll make a big donation, $25,000. Like, come on. He's like, Americans love your face. I'm like, oh, does that mean you're gonna fuck up his face? Is that what that means?
No, I think it's just that he has this reputation for being for being this great guy, this clean guy, this good family man, and he is none of those things.
And Frank says no, and Nick says, I'm gonna blackmail you. And that's how that goes. Sorry, I know your shit.
Couple of things. I absolutely adored all the kind of accidental jabs everybody was making at Frank at the Thanksgiving dinner, because they kept saying things like there's another council member. They're saying like Frank could advance to this other council member's seat. And he's like, because that council member's having an affair and he's a bad person who cheats on his wife. So like they just keep saying things like Frank would never do that, and like Delia's right there. So I kind of really loved that. That was cool to me.
I mean, yeah, they were still kind of praising Frank, as now we know his whole kind of backstory with Jill and all. So
yeah, I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's a man who makes stupid choices, but like I don't think he's a bad guy currently.
Yeah, so either. I mean, I honestly think it's for his benefit to just out himself, like at this point. I mean, too many people know. It's just.
I think he should have divorced Delia a while ago, and it would and now, even now, he could quietly divorce her, not see Jill for 6 months, and then introduce the relationship and move on with his day. But he's so like, we need to be together now. And, Delia, she just has this idea in her head that he's going to give up everything and just be at her beck and call. And he's like, I don't even like you. And I feel sad on one hand because obviously he ruined this marriage that way. He could have just divorced her quietly.
Yeah.
To save face, allow her to save face. And he didn't. He just carried on an affair thinking, oh, I'll just, screw somebody else at college and it'll be fine. I never meant to fall in love, blah, blah, blah. But you had a baby with this woman. So I don't know.
He's not going to be in love with her again. It's just not.
No, and he seems to not care about the kid either because he's just never with the baby.
Right.
And she mentions a lot that he doesn't spend any time with the baby. So I feel like this was probably an anchor baby for this marriage. And he just wasn't having it.
No.
But again, he could have divorced her while he was still in college and saved her from all of this.
Yeah.
So if she makes him suffer for that, Team Delia.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know how it's going to end. It ain't going to be pretty on either end because
It's going to be a huge scandal because also he's Irish descent, like his mother's from Ireland. They don't believe in divorce if they're Catholic. So, especially then at that time period, they're not going to believe in divorce.
I feel like Delia's probably going to do some stuff to try to keep him, but I'm like, it's just not going to work no matter
Right
what you
now,
try.
she's doing what's that Stephen King movie?
Misery.
Yeah, she's doing Misery right now because she did say to him in a very creepy tone that I know I'm stronger than you and I can control what you do now, but I'll let you stay up for a couple more minutes. And I was like, oh no, Frank, you're in trouble.
She even brought up pushing him. She's like, and I'm trying to get, we're trying to get past pushing you down the steps or whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
Talk about that, girl.
Why would you talk about that out loud? But like when she said that, when she said, I control everything and I'm stronger than you, I'm like, this is not a good situation for Frank to be in.
Yeah.
But also, Frank kind of put himself in this position by having an affair instead of divorcing this girl before she got pregnant and had their baby.
He should have said it before. Like he should have came out with it before everything, or even when he did the thing and got up at the whatever it's called, the rally.
Right.
He should have said it then. This is what's happening. This is the truth. It'll embarrass the family, but they'll get over it in a few months. Whatever.
But also, like, coming clean about it yourself. Most of the time, at this time, and probably still now, they put most of the onus on the woman anyway, as you'll see, because Pat's allowed to be the biggest hoe in town, but Mary Ryan's not allowed to have a boyfriend. So if he divorced Delia, the prevailing like sentiment would be that she was a bad wife and couldn't keep her husband. And if he had come forward first and been like, we weren't getting along, blah blah blah, they'll find a way to blame Delia for it.
Yeah, it's true.
Which sucks and is sexist as hell. But it would have gotten him out of this position because now he's trapped in the scenario where he's going to be blackmailed unless he comes forward now, and it'll be 10 times worse now.
Yeah.
Because he got elected on a lie because he was running a campaign as a family man, and here he was stepping out on his wife and kid.
Yeah. And he's not even like in office until the new year, right? Isn't that how it works? They don't get until January.
I think it's like, yeah, in January. So they could do a recall election. He could lose everything.
Yeah.
So he's in a tough spot right now. It's interesting. I like the way they're setting it up. They really build the storyline slowly. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm scared of Kenneth though.
I'm glad he's finally out of the damn hospital. It only took 5 months.
But you know what? In real life, he'd still be in that damn hospital.
That's true. That's true.
So like they accelerated it because you have to for soaps.
Right.
Because it gets boring after a while if you're just laying in a bed. Obviously, for your acting opportunity, you're like, I'm gonna submit my Emmy role of me sleeping in a bed.
Yeah, right.
4 months. Sometimes I say pushed.
Right. But yeah, these are fun episodes. Creepy Kenneth is creepy.
I thought it was a really good week. A lot happened.
A lot did happen, right?
Yeah, a lot with Roger, a lot with Jill, Frank, even Delia. Like Mary Ryan, not so much was happening to her, but it feels like they're setting up for more things. She can't always be the center.
Yeah. I like it's they're doing a good job of like equal storytelling, I feel like.
Me too.
So it's good.
I think Nell's gonna die though. I don't want her to die. Please never tell that story about the dog ever again. Good
Maybe
Lord.
it'll be a Christmas miracle thing. Like we'll think she's gonna die for 3 weeks and then Christmas comes and
Well, didn't they say like Kenneth asked Bucky, like, isn't she completely cured? But doesn't she have a secondary aneurysm? Like one burst and then she had the other one. Now the other one, was that the one that was operable? Did they remove both?
I thought it was only the operable one is the only one they took care of, but it fucked her up with the right side. But I don't think the other one was operable. So it could give her, it just extended her life,
Right. Isn't that what they initially said? That they could give her, they wouldn't know how long she would live because the aneurysm could burst at any time.
Yeah.
So that's why I think she's I think she's in a weird headspace where she's pretending she's absolutely 100% okay, even though she's not. But she's also weirdly trying to accept her own mortality at the same time. And she's like looking to Seneca for comfort and like reassurance that she's going to survive. And he can't give that to her because nobody knows that.
Right.
But you know what? Just lie to the girl. What are you doing? Lie to her. Give her hope.
I guess that they give up on her and Ed. Like, I feel like he's never really on.
No, they kind of shifted her back towards Seneca, which, by the way, I'm not a fan of. I hate that guy. So I'm never going to be on his side. Even when she tells wonderful, loving stories about him, they're all
Yeah.
about how he neglected her and ignored her and treated her like crap.
Right. I think she only likes having him there for comfort because she knows him. And you kind of want that when you have like something serious going on. Like,
I think so too. I agree.
when I've had surgeries in the past, like seeing nurses that I know, like, as a comfort to me, being
Well,
there.
I think it's that even though he's a bad husband, because let's face it, he is.
Yeah.
I think having him around reminds her, number one, of what they had, which is like they had this whirlwind romance before everything turned kind of sour, but also of what could be if she survives. She's like, if I survive, I'll have time to fix this relationship. We'll have time to fix this relationship. So I think it's like twofold. It's like a promise for the future, but like a throwback, a comfort from the past. And like her and Ed didn't have enough time to build the relationship for her to seek him for comfort. I do like that she's leaning on Bucky a lot because like Bucky needs that. He needs a family member that cares about him because his mom was there and she was kind of spacey and not really all that interested in him.
Right.
She was adorable, but like she loved her plants.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where it's going with that. I do think that she's not long for this world, sadly.
Yeah.
That's don't I should have wrote that poem down. I was so focused on the weird ass story about the dog that I didn't remember the poem. I usually write the poems down.
Yeah, right. I know you're usually the poem girl.
I know. But I was watching Ryan's Hope while I was waiting to do the General Hospital podcast. So I was my focus was split.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for joining us this time. We'll bring you some more Ryan's Hope in the coming weeks. And let us know what you thought, Lemon Lady.
Do you think Kenneth is scary? Should I be worried?
Do you think Kenneth, Lemon Lady?
If I lock my doors at night, is Kenneth coming?
Right. Let us know in the comments what you thought of Ryan's Hope during this week, because it's crazy. And again, a good Thanksgiving episode. I always like when all the families are together. It felt like Thanksgiving. Then Nick, of course, now we're getting to scary territory with him, and yikes. But until next time, bye, y'all.
Bye.